How's it going, friends and family of the internet? Welcome to the Real AF TV podcast, show about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm one of your hosts, Josh LaBaw.
And I am Tim Wagner here on a rare AM podcast where you're going to see me holding a coffee mug. Maybe that's why I came out waving, because I'm just like, good morning, everyone.
That's right. We did have to record this one in the morning. There's some other things that, depending on how I cut this, you might catch it there as the beginning starts. You never know.
Right. Are you drinking beer?
No, but I thought about it. I have Blue Moon in the fridge, and I was like, it has oranges in it. You can fucking drink Blue Moon in the morning. It's legal.
Right. I was thinking about it too, just being like, oh, it's morning time, but we should just ruin our family's plans for the day.
Just get drunk on the podcast, and then we're trying to go hang out with our families. And I don't know, I'm fucking drunk.
This is not my fault. We record whatever. What, you want to go to the mall? You can't be drunk in the mall.
Well, this is America.
I
thought this was America.
Yeah, I thought I married somebody who was American, and like, you're an American now? Oh,
oh shit. You got me on that one. Good.
That's drunk arguments 101. Just make noises.
Yep.
Oh, whatever.
It is. Oh, so good. All right, Tim. Let's start it off. Hit him with the fishing news. Nope, wrong one.
It worked. Fishing
that
news.
Kind of works. Fishing news, though, doesn't it?
Splash with the news. Yeah, it works.
Maybe I'll just start doing that. I mean, that was totally on purpose. I'm working on the new production. Trying to add some new production shit. That was totally did that on purpose.
Oh yeah.
Quick, before we get into the fishing news, I'm going to do a little housekeeping. Remember, if you're listening to this on the Monday that this drops and you're trying to share this with a friend and they're like, just go check out the YouTube channel, which is cool. Appreciate that. We do the off week stuff, like in our off week, I drop the fishing topic and the random take by themselves on YouTube, but they don't get this fishing news. They don't get all the shenanigans from the beginning. They're not going to get the housekeeping updates. It's just straight, keep it to the topics, drop those as separate videos. This long form stuff, this is just for us. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. And if you don't want shenanigans, you're un-American too. It's un-American to not want shenanigans,
Yeah. So not a big fishing news one, but I wanted to bring it up because it's fun. The Bassmaster Classic trophy came to Minnesota recently. Gussie's.
He just brought it with him?
Yeah, he was at the president of Northland Tackle threw a big party. Had everybody from Northland come down to his spot up there in Bemidji, and
nice.
Gussie brought the trophy with and was hanging out. They had a big party, so
Dude,
it was really cool. I'll put the link in the YouTube video for everybody. You can check
Northland,
it out.
I would like to do some research on Northland Tackle, since we brought him up kind of organically here, just not trying to go off on a tangent.
No, definitely. It's totally related.
The last couple of years, they've completely went off the rails.
What?
They went from it's like awesome in the awesome way.
Oh, in a good way. Okay. I was like, I don't know, man. I've been watching him. I thought.
Yeah.
And I thought, huh? Okay.
No,
okay.
I mean, like, where they just like, they're just going insane, where they're just like, for the longest time, they're like, here's our jawbreaker spoon. Here's a couple of our jigs. Here's some other stuff. They've been slowly kind of ramping up.
Okay.
And now all of a sudden they're like, I go in the, like, I don't know, early spring, and I see some frogs and they're Northland, and I'm just like, damn, Northland's in the frog game? Like, look at these frogs. And they had like the popper frogs and the walking frogs, and then they have like all these different crayfish baits, and they have like a ton of different walleye soft plastics now, and just all they call it eye candy. They have some new tungsten jigs that are like short shank that I use, that I actually caught my new personal best walleye off of. That was also not intended, but I did. They were both off of Northland. I caught the same bait that I caught my last personal best, the soft plastic, the Northland Impulse paddle tail. I think it was the smelt color. I can't remember, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a
Mm-hmm.
smelt or the black. It's literally the difference between brown and white and black and white. I think it was the smelt. It's like a
Oh,
dark
okay.
brown, and then it had a tungsten jig um, on there, which it's like a lower profile, like kind of skinny. It drops faster.
Mm.
The weight being tungsten, it moves faster. Plus, it's not lead, so you're not
Oh, right.
harming the animals, you know. So,
Right.
but they're not cheap either. Tungsten ain't cheap, so
No,
that's the only
tungsten's
downfall. But
expensive. Yeah.
use your leader material. I caught quite a few fish without losing it. So
Nice.
hopefully that's a continuing trend. Just got to
Yeah.
make sure I have that leader material because I was getting bit off by northerns. Anyways, that was a side tangent, but all the different stuff that they have, because a lot of times you used to go in there and you'd see like, here's all their different spinner baits,
Mm-hmm.
here's their jawbreaker spoons, here's some of their jigs, and nothing would change. And then, like, I don't know, within like the last 5 years, it was kind of like, here's a couple of new jigs, here's a little bit different. And I would say,
Mm-hmm.
like, this last year, the year before that, maybe they started doing better in their sales and got some
Oh.
money to really run with it. But all
Uh-huh.
of a sudden, it's like, just boom, here's all the stuff you've ever wanted. And I'm just like, oh my God, Northland.
Really?
Nice. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
yeah. And it's
crazy.
not, yeah, it's the, like the, from the bass and the walleye perspective, they got both of them. They have some musky stuff, but that's
Mm.
kind of just like they made their spinner baits bigger.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's technically meant for muskies, but
But it
yeah,
could be,
I've
right?
I've
Just
been
because of the
I've
size.
been yes, yep.
Yeah.
I've been super impressed and just like super excited to see a company that I already love to just be like,
Yeah.
here, do you want a whole bunch of new stuff? A whole bunch of
Right.
things you've already like wanted? And just, yes, I do.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah,
do. Yeah, that
yes.
brand loyalty kind of like they've never fucked you over sort of situation where you're like, they've done nothing but good things for me. I hear nothing but good things for
Yeah.
them. And now all of a sudden they're just like, boom. And it's like, yeah,
Yes.
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, this should be a fucking ad for Northland. But I mean, that's really what this is about. I mean, it's just about how cool Northland is. And like this just off the radar kind of party. It was like, yeah, they had a couple photos and this person, wrote a little tiny article on it. But it's like, this was just a private party that the president of Northland threw at his giant cabin in Bemidji.
Right.
Like, how dope is that?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing I'll just say, in case anybody from Northland ends up hearing this, I have a critique for you. Get your apparel game in order, bro.
Oh,
I
yeah, I
want to
agree.
represent you. I want to represent you. I go onto your website. I'm like, that's a good shirt. And I go click on it. You have like all these sizes that should be available. And then you're only like, we only have smalls and mediums of this shirt. And then you click on the next shirt and it's like, we only have larges and mediums. And you're like, you have like 6 sizes. How come you only have 2 available of everything? So that's my only gripe about you, is just like, get your stuff together.
What do you
Or,
think about? Oh, sorry, you keep going.
well, they have that new, I think maybe they'll start coming out with some new apparel too, because
Oh, okay.
they've went from having the full like Northland is like their symbol. It would say the
Yep.
whole thing.
Yeah.
To now it's kind of like a circle with an N.
Oh, I haven't seen that
And
one.
yeah, it's kind of like a yellow. I think it's like a yellow circle in the background, and then the end is like oversized
Okay.
with like a red end where it kind of,
Oh.
like overfills
Yeah.
the circle.
Yeah, it's that Northland N, right? It's still
Yeah,
the same.
yeah,
It's the N from the full Northland logo, just kind of.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Okay, I've seen it.
And it's like, give me a hat with just that on it, or give me a shirt with just that on it. I would love that.
Yeah.
But I just look at your hats and I'm just like, that's not really me.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because that's where that's where I was going with it. I was like, I think their hat game's pretty weak, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not big
exactly.
into their hat game either. And because I was
No.
looking and I just, yeah,
Yeah.
I was just like, not,
Yeah, I just
doesn't
like
fit.
it's simple. I just like it's simple. I don't like a lot going on.
Right.
And it's like, I don't want it to seem hypocritical because I'll wear a Rapala hat or an Omnia hat where it says the whole word
whole name,
across it, but it's not like anything else going on, you
Right.
know?
Right.
Where Northland is like, it's like a badge, and it's like Northland established 19 whatever, and it
Yep.
gives
It
you the
has
date,
that
and it's just like I don't
full logo with the undertext
exactly.
and
Yeah,
everything
I
on
don't
it. Yep.
need all that shit.
Yep.
Just say even if it just said Northland,
Yep.
just that one word.
Yep.
I'm cool with it, but
Yep.
like make that, like you said, that N where it's identifiable that I'm talking about the fishing company and not just like
The
Northland Chevrolet.
Northland.
I went and got myself a pickup truck from the new. What are you talking about, Northland Chevrolet? I got the Silverados. Why am I doing another? So, why am I doing this? Southern
I know. I was
accent?
just gonna say. I don't know why you went Southern for literally talking about up north.
I think it's probably because I wanted to say Silverado.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Gotta be.
So before we jump off never mind. We're jumping off. I just see we just went off for like, I don't know, 10 minutes on Northland.
Yeah.
And it was
Now
really
that we-
just about how
yeah.
Gussie brought the trophy down to Bemidji for a party.
Right. Which is dope, which is cool. That's the
It
the
is.
trophies come to different spots. I know that I think I've said it on the podcast before. Seth Fighter brought
yeah.
the Angler of the Year trophy to Minnesota.
Yeah.
What had to have been
Well, he's from here too. But
right. Well, sure, but this was kind of a party that Omnia threw where everybody could come out and kind of like see it and see
Sick.
him and just be like, "What's up, dude?
Yeah.
Nice job getting Angler of the Year." And I think that must have been like early 2020, right? Because 2019 is when COVID hit, but 2020
no,
is
2020
when,
for
like,
us. It's called COVID-19, but we didn't start until 2020 over here.
Yeah, that's what I think that's
So it could
what
have
I
been
said,
21.
or that's what I meant to say. I don't know how I said it, but that's what I was trying to say. I don't know. Anyways, when we got hit with the shit is when like people started coming down with it and issues and whatever, and they were having the little get together, and it was like that morning I started having weird issues. And then I ended up not going to the party because I was like, I think I got something going on with me. And that night we recorded the podcast, and it was that next day when I realized like, oh, this is legitimate. Like that's when I was able to test.
Yep.
And had COVID. So I'm glad I stayed away because I didn't know it was COVID at the time, but I started feeling like I was coming down with something, and I was like, I probably shouldn't go to this party.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you just made that preemptive, like, I don't know, man. Right. Because we were in that time, and yeah, good call. But what a bummer.
Yeah.
To miss it. So, I mean,
So 2 trophies have been in Minnesota for sure.
Yeah.
One I had a chance to see and then didn't take it. But that was, not a bad
COVID
call.
took it away from you.
and if by some chance, Seth, you hear this and you're just like, oh, you didn't get me sick? Yeah, that's real cool. I'll take you fishing or something for being a nice guy.
just saying, Just
saying. I didn't get you sick, bro. So.
All right, let's jump into the housekeeping here. I just want to do the quick every other week podcast thing. Like I already said, remember every other Monday, the podcast drops on Spotify and iTunes and iHeartRadio and all that fun stuff. We're really out there on all the platforms. If there's one that you have to jump off of your platform to get the Real AF TV podcast because we're not on it, tell us. You can go to realaf.tv/contact. It will just email us and you can just be like, hey, I wish you were on this. And I'd do everything we can do everything we can to make it happen. So far, we've done it a lot. And also if you're using the YouTube podcast, like, I don't know, YouTube just dropped a podcast where you can make a thing a podcast. We are on that feed now. We have been for a few episodes, which means a few months actually. And I don't know what the hell it means. I'm just doing it. I assume it helps the algorithm. But I don't know if it helps the algorithm or if there's actually like a category in the podcast, because I don't have YouTube Prime, YouTube Plus. I don't know what the fuck they call it. I don't pay for YouTube. Okay. But I assume if you pay for it, there must be something in the app that categorizes things different. I don't know. So tell me.
I don't know either, man.
Yeah, because it's a category. Like it's you, when you put up a video, it's not just a video anymore. It's now a podcast. So like there's a whole other category. And I don't know what it does. Well, I just started doing it.
I subscribe to a couple of technically podcasts, which are also like the video.
Oh yeah.
I should
Uh-huh.
like see if there's like any distinction between that, because most of the stuff I
Mm-hmm.
subscribe to is other channels like fishing and video games and stuff. But there's a
Mm-hmm.
couple of podcasts I subscribe to because every once in a while they do visual stuff.
Mm,
And then when I'm
right.
driving around, I'm like, oh, I got to go quick find
Right.
that visual piece and look
Right.
at
Get
it.
the visual gag. Yeah, I know for sure. I
Yep.
get you. I just had that happen to me on one that doesn't usually do visual gags, and I had to pull the YouTube video up on mute while I let the podcast play, and then I just matched the time codes
Nice.
quick
Hell
because
yeah.
I work at a
That's
desk. I
dope.
have two screens, right? So like, I have a privileged situation where I can just go like click, 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 and I can see what they're talking about.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. So anyways, yeah, that's it. I just wanted that was it for housekeeping now that I'm looking down at my notes. Oh no, actually I did want to just shout out YouTube in general. Super steady crowd over there. So glad that you guys are joining us. Really happy that you're there and keeping us going and getting those steady likes and all that stuff. So cool. Thank you. Just wanted to give a big
Yes.
old thumbs up to the YouTube crowd. And if you're on podcasts and you're doing this regularly, thank you. I just don't get to the analytics every month like I do on YouTube. So shout outs to you too if you're hanging in there on Spotify every other week. That's cool.
Yeah, but like you also, not Bono. He can go suck a fart.
Yeah. Not you
No, I
too.
just,
How does a guy who seems so nice still seem like such a douche? Okay, let's do this shit. Tim?
yeah.
I had this thought, and I'll tell you, this is really weird for me. I guess not really weird, but I want to do some of this back behind the scenes stuff that I do that we
Yep.
do every once in a while. Behind the scenes, kind of lead up things. I was listening to a podcast about the Edmund Fitzgerald. And for anybody who doesn't know what that is, I didn't realize people didn't know what that was until this
Yeah, I think
podcast,
like
right?
if you don't live in Minnesota, it's probably a little bit lesser known.
Right.
But like we all get told about it because they're just like, didn't Duluth is where the thing is that everybody leaves from, and then there's a whole song about it and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Because there's a guy who grew up on the in the Great Lakes area on the podcast, and then a guy who grew up in the southern United States on the podcast. And he was like, I had no idea. What the one guy from the south was like, I had no idea what this was. And he went, and the guy from the north was like, huh? What do you mean?
Huh? Yeah.
How did you not know what this was? Oh, it's just beat into our brains up here. I didn't realize that.
Right.
We get it in history like every other. It's like the first thing you do in history. And the teachers come back from summer break. Yeah,
Right.
remember there was a ship sunk out in Lake Superior? Remember that?
Yep. Yeah, and they don't want to do any. They're just like, I'm gonna take like a 5-minute nap. Here, listen to this long song about the ship or whatever.
Right. And so we all know. All of us from Minnesota know what the Fitzgerald was. So I was listening to that, and it made me think, oh yeah, that's a giant fucking body of water. There's fish in that thing.
Yeah, dude.
So that's the topic this week. The fishing topic this week is Great Lakes fish. I did forget to say what the random take is. We're gonna go talk about professional summer sports because I ran into some stuff this weekend, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" So that'll be the random take. But back to the fishing topic. Okay, if anybody doesn't know what the Great Lakes are, I don't know where the fuck you're from. Please, message us.
Dude, that one. If you don't know about Great Lakes, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, dude. Exactly. I mean, that's just weird that you don't know what they are. But anyways, Canada on the north, United States on the bottom. Now some people don't know this or haven't memorized or whatever. Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, Ontario. From East Coast all the way over to Minnesota, we got fucking water.
Big old lakes. Look at the
Big
map.
old lakes.
Big old blue dots on the Canada border.
Yeah, Google Maps it. You'd see these giant. Yep, exactly. Here's one of the facts that I was like, what the fuck, dude? This is crazy. So Superior's the biggest, and that's the one that we kind of, being from Minnesota associates us.
Yeah.
Or it's easily associated with us, right? Like it's the one we learn about the most for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Sure.
In public school, I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
but check this out, dude. Lake Erie has 2% of the water, but
Mm-hmm.
50% of the fish.
Damn, dude. I knew that it had like that's a big smallmouth destination, but I
Okay, I
didn't
thought
know
so.
that it
I got
had
people on
fifty
Twitter that are
percent.
always like, Erie does it again. And I'm like, what's going on there?
Yeah, yeah, it's a good smallmouth lake, man.
It is.
Yeah, it is, and I'm I'm guessing by the just how it's fished and stuff, it must be set up a little bit different in certain spots
What do you mean?
because our like our Great Lake is like if you go there, it's just open as hell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing like Erie must have some smaller bays where you can like fish
Mm.
more like smallmouth and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Where
Where it
I
has more
think ours,
lake-like spots. When we think of
yeah, I think
Superior, it's like a
yeah,
fucking ocean, dude.
right. Superior is like every point that we have, every access point is like it's super deep immediately.
I've never
Y-
seen like growth in Lake Superior. I mean, I've never fucking traveled the Lake Superior border, but yeah,
Yeah.
like when you go to a normal lake in Minnesota, like I say a normal lake, an inland lake, right? Like just something that's
Hmm.
plopped down here that we call one of our 10,000.
Yeah.
There's weeds on the edge, always weeds on the edge.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
seen that
And
in
there
Superior.
it's super deep water and rocks,
Rocky, big
and
time.
it's clear, and it's like I'm guessing that Erie has, some shallower bays,
Mm.
which
Mm-hmm.
I don't think is really a thing on Superior. And I think it's a lot because it's like man made. Maybe it was a thing at one point in time, but it's been so carved out to accept giant ships and barges, all the stuff that's coming
Yeah,
in.
like the freight basically. We can just like the
Yeah.
water freight. Yeah.
Yeah. Because even the water that's like right on the border, like what normally would be shoreline, is like deep enough for a ship to pull right up to the side so they can, unload
So
freight.
they can unload their freight. Yeah.
And I'm guessing it probably wasn't like that straight away. I'm guessing
It's a good
that it
guess. Yeah.
that it was, somebody came in and kind of changed it to
Yeah.
be what it is
Right.
today.
And there's
So
still a lot of
maybe,
commerce on the lake for sure. But
yeah,
back in the day, I mean, back in the day, shit, the Edmund Fitzgerald wasn't that long ago. But I don't know how much it's going on anymore. It's the ore. There's if for anybody who doesn't know, listening to the podcast is uh it's called the Iron Range up there in northern Minnesota. They
sure,
mine the fuck out of iron ore, or did mine the fuck out of
yeah,
iron ore up there. And so what Tim's saying is like we filled ships with one of the heaviest substances we could find and shipped it around
right,
the Great Lakes, or we
yeah.
still are. I don't even have a full understanding of what the mining of the iron ore industry is doing up there.
I Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know either. I
But
don't.
there's
There's
a
not
lot
a
of
whole
money
lot
going in
of.
and out of there because of it.
Yeah, that's very true. I don't
So
know how much stuff you can fit on each ship and where each ship comes from, but you do see, like when you go to Duluth, there's a good chance that you're seeing a giant ship come in
mhm,
on a regular basis.
yeah, for sure.
So
It's not
it's
uncommon.
it's pretty gnarly if
It's
nobody's
crazy.
ever
They're
been.
big. Which is another
Yeah, so
reason
if you,
why it gives that ocean quality to it also, because not only is it deep and clear and there's no fucking end to it, but when
yeah,
those big ships are coming in, you're just like, that's an ocean. So
dude, it's a
you
ship the size of a football field, and when you get there, you're
right,
just like, there's one on the horizon, and then when you see it come in, you're like, that's the size of a football field. It looked like a small boat when
right.
I could see it, and
Yeah,
that's what I could see. Like that lake is massive. There's
absolutely.
no other way
Yeah.
around it. It does
And
look like, oh, if you look for other people, I should backtrack a little bit when I was saying that, just like if you don't know what the Great Lakes are, what the heck? I was kind of thinking about like people around here. Like if you're in North America and you don't know what the Great Lakes
right,
are, then it's like, what's going on, guys?
right.
But if you're from overseas, I could totally see that, somebody
Yeah,
from a different country
right.
being just like, do you know about this sea? And I'd be like, no. And they'd just be like, why am I supposed to know about your Great Lakes? Like, touche. I don't know. I don't know about where you
Touche.
live. I wasn't thinking like globally, honestly.
Right.
So if there's somebody globally listening, and you're just like, oh, I don't know about your Great Lakes, then my bad. I wasn't really
Right.
thinking about you when I
Touche,
said that.
Mario
Yeah.
from Sicily.
Mario. But I forgot the point I was trying to make on
Well,
that. I was
actually, I
just
was just gonna, yeah. Well, no, you made your point. You made your point. I think. But with
yeah.
the, so I don't want to. We'll do a whole episode on the Great Lakes. Trust me, that'll happen.
Okay.
So we'll get into what that is. I like your assumption though that if 2% of the water is in Erie, but 50% of the fish, it must be more lake-like than what we're used to, and that's what all that was, is us explaining
Sure.
we've seen Superior, we've been up there. It just doesn't give you the lake vibes. And I've only ever heard of people fishing lake trout on there. What have
Oh,
you
okay.
heard of?
Yeah, lake trout, and I think there's salmon. I think
There
there's
are salmon.
salmon. I think so. I
Yeah.
thought that I heard about like the
I
salmon
just don't know
runs.
which lake they're in. There's salmon in the
Yeah.
Great Lakes, 100%.
Yeah, but I thought it was up there because I thought that's what you could go like trolling for, because they have like charters up there
Yeah.
where they're like bigger. They look like the boats that you like if you see like a charter that's out in the ocean,
Yep.
where it's a bigger boat and it's a little bit taller and stuff to be able to handle bigger waves.
Yep.
It's that kind of stuff that they have out there.
Right.
And they'll fish just like they were in the ocean, where they'll have
Yeah,
multiple
they do.
lines and you just
Yeah.
troll. They just drive and troll.
Yep. Lake
Yeah.
trout. Like I've seen
Yep.
exactly what you're describing. And if you were to see it out of context, you'd just go, huh, wonder what ocean they're on. Or you would just say, what are they, what are they fishing for, tuna or something like that? Because you don't know for sure.
Yeah.
And it looks like an ocean fisher because you can tell the
Yeah.
way you got four poles hanging off the back. And I've seen lake
Yeah.
trout like that. And there's definitely lake trout up in Superior. There's lake trout in the Great
Oh,
Lakes.
yeah.
So,
Yep.
um,
No, yeah, it's lake trout and salmon, I'm pretty sure, is what they got
okay.
up there for the most part.
Yeah.
I've
I don't know
always
how the
wanted
salmon
to.
part works in Superior because it's not connected to the ocean. And salmon typically go into the ocean. So I don't, but I believe that you've heard
Yeah,
that. So
I
maybe the
might be
salmon are
wrong,
different.
but I think I might be wrong. But there's more than one species of salmon. I don't know
There
if
is.
all of them run to the ocean.
Yep.
So I don't
Right.
know, and I could be wrong. That's how little. That's the funny thing is like we're right here. We know that there are fish in it,
Right.
but like you said, with the fish numbers, I know Erie's a great smallmouth fishery, and I would love to fish it. When
Mhm.
people go, "Do you ever want to fish the Great Lakes?" Like, yeah, I would like to have somebody pay somebody to bring me out and show me what's in here and what I can catch.
Right. Right. Yeah. Where if somebody's just like, hey, you ever ever fish Lake David? And you're like, no. And they're like, oh yeah, it's just like 100-acre lake. It's just over there. It's about a quick 20-minute drive. You'd be like, yeah, fine, I'll go fish it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, cool.
You're not
I'll look into
intimidated
it and
by
I'll go
that.
fish it. Not
Right.
at all. No.
But in the Great Lakes, you're like, where's the guide?
Dude, exactly. The Great Lakes, I've just been like, I've thought about like, it'd be cool to bring a rod up to the lakes and then just cast it in. But it's like, I have no idea what to use for bait. I have no idea what to do at all. I have no idea if there's fish here. I have no
Right.
idea. Like, just like in a normal lake, we're next to the rocks. There's fish on this structure.
Right.
And I've
right.
been to the Great Lakes a number of times where you're looking in, you see all this rocky, structure and all this other stuff. And I'm looking at where in a normal lake I would be like, I can see a fish. And then you don't see anything. You're just like,
Right.
okay, I don't know.
You're like, okay.
I guess they're deep or something.
Yeah, this isn't big enough. Like I don't. Yeah, or the waves are too strong. Like I don't know. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
So the number of species, I got that. I got how many there are. This was some of the weirdest research that I've ever done, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because there's 177 species of fish in the Great Lakes. Remember,
Okay.
now we're saying a lot about our experience of being up on the shores, on the North Shore, what we call it, up in the shore of Lake Superior in northern Minnesota.
Yep.
That's
Even though
our
it's not the
personal
North
experiences,
Shore
right?
It's. I was just gonna say, even though it's like a weird messes with you, because it's like the North Shore of Like
The
it's the
south
north point
side.
of Minnesota, but it's definitely the south side of the lake.
Right.
So,
You're right. You're right. But we call it the North Shore. I mean, am I wrong?
yeah. No, you're right. It's
Right.
exactly this. I was just like,
Good point, though.
it kind of
Good
messes with
point.
you. Yeah. So,
Okay. So yes. So remember, there's 177 species of the whole Great Lakes. We're talking about all of it.
sure.
Not, but we're doing a lot of context around our experiences up at the Lake Superior. So I just want to
Yes.
try to make that clear. So 139 are native, and I was like, so does that mean there's 38 of them that are invasive? And the answer is no.
Damn. Oh,
Yeah. So there is a difference between invasive, and I know we've covered invasive species. We always talk about invasive species, but it's a good time to get back to it because I feel like I haven't mentioned it enough
yeah.
lately. Because take care of your bodies of water, get those invasive species out of there in the way that it's recommended by your local DNR.
Right.
So 34 are non-native. So that's actually really good because non-native means that it came in and it adapted. And
Sure.
so like remember when we talked about the parrot
Oh,
bass? Is that what it's called?
peacock?
Peacock bass. Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Remember when we did that? Yeah.
Yep.
That was a non-native species
Sure. That was like
because it doesn't
in,
do anything. It just lives there. It's just fine. It just
right.
integrated with the ecosystem.
And it was like introduced by the county or state or whoever decided to put it in there because they knew that
Right.
it would just be like chill
Yep.
and it would draw tourism and
Right.
people, it wouldn't be a big deal.
Yep.
So yes, we've probably done this exact same thing, but then
Yep.
evasive mustn't mean that it's non-native, but it's fucking shit up.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
And so just like we've done before, of course, there's fucking like 4 different species of carp in the Great Lakes.
Right.
And they're invasive.
Oh God, what are you doing, carbs? What are you doing? They just go wherever they want.
Dude, that is like the hardiest fish of all time, I swear to God. Because every time we do something about a lake, every time we do something about a carp, or like a type of fish, we have to like talk about the carp and what they're doing. It's so wild. So I had to bring it up. I had to
They're
bring it
like
up.
freaking armor plated.
Yeah.
They're
Living like zero oxygen. And as long as they can suck the ground, they're cool. That's what it seems like.
Do you think that's like a great argument of how dumb fish are? And like that's just like the dumbest one. And that's why it's so hardy. It's just like, where do you want to live? And it's just like, as long as I can suck the ground, I don't care. I don't.
It's a good point.
It's one requirement.
It's one single requirement.
Just like if you put on one of those, like it's like a cartoon, movie, and you put on one of those little helmets, and it can talk, and you're just like, where do you want to live, carp? What's your ideal spot? Just like takes a, I'm good.
Just sucks the ground right where it sits.
The ideal spot, number 1 location. Where would you want to live out of any of it?
Out of anywhere.
Doesn't matter what you say. It's just like,
yep.
Here's good.
Here's
it's just pretty good. It's pretty good ground. Oh man.
Oh boy. So here's a thing, Tim, that I had no idea existed. 61 species of fish in the Great Lakes are endangered or extinct. And obviously I didn't know that part, but this part was the part that made me go, huh, this is pretty wild. You ever heard of a blue walleye? A blue walleye, dude.
I feel like I have heard that term before.
Okay.
But that's about as far as it goes.
So this is also weird then. I mean, not weird because of what you just said, but this is also weird because I wonder what it does in your brain.
Okay.
So, and how it happens. Sometimes also called a blue pike. Does that sound familiar?
Like both of these feel like it's something I've heard one time and then just like didn't look into, like maybe somebody said something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, maybe when I was younger and I heard it and I was just like, what did he say? And that was as far as it went. Because for some reason it's ringing bells like I've heard these terms before. Like it doesn't
Yeah, I know
sound
what you're talking about.
unfamiliar,
Mm-hmm.
but I have no idea what they are, what it would be.
Yeah. And so here's the thing. Here's the reason why I wanted to bring it up. Well, walleye and pike, right? I mean, we've talked fucking all the time about walleye and pike. And so when
Yeah.
I got to this extinct endangered species thing, I was like, blue walleye, what the fuck? I got to look that up. Why is it listed as its own species? Well, it's an extinct species, but here's the crazier thing
Okay.
for me is,
Yeah.
dude, this thing's in our wheelhouse. It was only said to be extinct, and this is Wikipedia, so take it for what it is, but things like this are usually cited and whatever. It went extinct in 83 only.
Whoa, dude.
So yeah, saying you heard this as a kid, you'd be like, this is super easy for even like your dad to have caught one or fished one or
Yeah.
have heard stories about his dad telling stories. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude, that's gnarly.
Isn't it?
That actually like makes a lot more sense. That
Yeah.
I heard somebody talking about it would just be like blue walleye used to be a thing, and like
Right.
that's as far as it went. And I
Yeah.
just was like, what the fuck is that idiot saying? You just
Uncle's drunk again.
so, blue walleye, whatever. He's telling stories like you didn't know it was an actual like fish that like existed. You just hear him telling stories and just like, oh yeah, I caught a blue one once, I bet, whatever.
Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't find anything. I didn't go into great detail about it, but I just saw that the blue pike, blue walleye, like they were interchangeable, and I'm like, that's fucking weird. But
Yeah,
I was.
dude,
This
they
is
look
to tie into
cool.
the random take even a little bit. First thing I thought was, well, how come we didn't have a team? How come we never had a sports team named after these guys? We should, because it doesn't look
Oh,
like a walleye. It's a little different. But where's the fucking Bemidji blue walleye? You know,
yeah. It's like it's pretty close, but its fins are a little bit different.
its
Like its
fins are
head and
weird,
face are
right?
the same. Yeah, but
And,
like it
and it's a
looks
lot darker,
older.
or not dark. It has less of that brown golden color, and
Yeah,
it's a weird.
that
To say a tint
that
of blue
second to
is,
back,
but
you got your main dorsal fin.
yeah,
Whatever that second fin is so pronounced.
in comparison
You know,
to what we
in
identify a
comparison to
walleye as.
most fish, man, that thing is big.
A what?
It's crazy in comparison to most fish. Like that fin
Oh, in
isn't.
comparison to most fish's
Does
second
that even
dorsal
exist
fin,
on
which
a
I forget the
regular
name of
walleye?
now. It's pretty
Or
crazy, right?
does it's like more round on a regular walleye?
Mm-hmm.
It, it just doesn't stand out like the other one. I guess it's there pretty prominent on a regular walleye too.
It is, but the other
It
one
just
is
doesn't.
so big.
It's so. I don't know if it's the blue that makes it pop. It's almost like half of these are like a triangle where it's just like it comes up so high.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, dude, that's cool. And the color. Ooh, man, I want to catch one. They still exist, but I guess just not in the Great Lakes anymore, huh?
Oh, they do still
Like,
exist. No, I just looked it up quick. It was a quick thing.
well,
So they still
I'm
exist
seeing
according to what you're seeing?
what I saw these pictures. Like, this is a YouTube uploaded July 25th to 2019. This guy says he caught a rare blue walleye,
Hmm.
but
Could
I
just be different color
don't.
too. I don't know.
Yeah, this one is like definitely he's got the blue one.
He's caught something different.
Yeah,
Well,
that's got to
shit.
be one of the
I think I
blues.
have it on. You know what? It's going on the list of things to look into. See if we can make a full episode out of it. Because definitely wasn't my intention to like deep dive on it here. Because we're just talking about like fish in general of the Great Lakes. But I'm gonna
Sure.
put it on the list of things to like. Let's deep dive into it and see if we can get a full episode out of it. Because it's that interesting to me.
Me too, dude.
It was very weird.
It just went from like some hearsay crap that I've heard
Probably
in
heard.
passing when I was a child, I think,
You're
to
right.
just be like, oh damn, it's a real thing.
Yeah, I thought that was super interesting. We had to bring it up. So back to the fish. This is the part that blows me away because of our experience with Superior. I think it's probably just being naive of the other bodies of water, or thinking about like the Niagara Falls, like the biggest, craziest, and most energetic piece of water in North America, basically, is part of
Yeah,
the Great Lakes. And I
yeah,
just think of these extremes, and then I just go, oh, these are just lakes. Once you start doing the research, because you know what's the super easiest thing to find about these lakes?
hmm.
Pike, muskie, panfish, bass, small and large, doesn't matter. Perch, different kind of perch. That's it. Like,
And
it's just those fish. Those are the fucking fish we're always talking about. We're always
yeah,
like that's just us fishing.
yeah, and they have all of those.
Yeah, dude. I mean, multiple
There's
perch.
got it.
The
Yeah,
panfish are tons of panfish. Actually,
the
there are six, from what I found, there are six different kinds of sunnies, two different kinds of crappies, but we already know what those are, black and white.
sure, yeah,
Oh, and
and the
there's white bass
sunfish.
in there too. Those are panfish, rock bass, those are panfish, right? There's all
Yep,
those.
yep,
So there's just,
yep.
but when you talk about it, like when you look it up and you talk about what is mostly drawing people in, it's just normal Minnesota fishing.
That's crazy, dude. I
Isn't
like
it weird?
because a lot of them it makes sense, but Superior must have different spots like that then too. I
Somewhere.
don't know shit about them. The funny thing is, in my fantasy football league, half of the dudes are from Duluth, so I should just be like, "Hey,
Oh,
what's going on up there or whatever."
yeah. Just talk to him
Yeah,
once and see. Yeah,
yeah.
should.
I bet if I said something about Blue Wally to them, they'd know.
Mm.
But I'm over here just like speculating and being like, I don't know what's going on up there. And then meanwhile, I have like 5, 6 people that are like
You could
up there
probably just
right
talk
now.
to. Yeah, you could like text them after we're done recording and start
Yeah.
getting it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
whatever.
just couldn't believe it. I mean, it was nuts. And then so this made me go again. This is probably mine just being naive and thinking about Superior. I was like, bet you the world record muskie had to come out of Superior then, right? Yeah.
Nope.
The great. Nope. Nope.
Nope.
I was wrong.
There's a here, if it lives in Superior, I bet you there's a good chance that the world record muskie lives there.
Mm.
It's just not as easy to catch because it has way more options on where to go and people aren't up there fishing it. But
Ah.
I bet because of the area, if they actually live there and they have food sources that they can get at,
Mm-hmm.
I bet there's a good chance that you could have the biggest muskie in the world there. And people just don't fish for it, or it's
Mm-hmm.
not as easy to fish.
Mm-hmm.
So it just doesn't happen that you ever catch the monsters that are there because
Right.
the world record muskie currently has come out of Mille Lacs, which is
Did we
another
talk about that?
giant
Did
body
we
of
talk about
water.
that?
I think so, maybe.
I can't remember. But either way, yes. Okay, you're right
But
though.
I also know these things. Like when the muskie record is one where like when I see that when it gets broken, I learn about it. I don't know
Yep.
how all the time, but like through some way, somehow, somebody says
You
something
get
about it.
yeah.
That's one
Yep.
that in the news and everybody talks about it. Hey, 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 muskie, muskie, muskie. You broke another record.
You're
It's
about the
not that big of a deal.
65 incher or whatever. Fuck, I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
But when our biggest fish becomes the new biggest fish
Right.
we have, like I don't know how to like that one makes the
Right.
news.
Right. I
So
gotcha.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
But
That
yeah,
makes
Mille
sense.
Lacs is also another giant body of water, but it's not
Right.
nearly as deep as the Great Lakes.
Right. So you make a good point about how, I mean, that's why I thought about it too, is these giant bodies of water can support giant fish. I mean, so long as the
Yeah,
food source is there and everything like that. But I never
right.
thought about these giant fish are rare, and the lake that you're fishing in, the bigger the lake, the harder it is to find it. I mean, they just have so many more opportunities. They may be sitting on some shit that you've
Yeah,
never even seen before and that only a few people do, or
right.
it's just a lot to explore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
makes
like,
sense.
in Mille Lacs, because of the depths, you have lures without special rigging and stuff that you can pretty much get to most of the spots in the water column.
Mm.
And the Great Lakes is not that. You need to like do some down rigging or whatever. And I'm not even going to get into down rigging because I don't know anything about it. I just know it's something you use when you're fishing really deep.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll move us on to salmon then, because we already started talking about the salmon. And remember when we did salmon versus steelhead? And because we were like, what the fuck? Because mislabeling in the stores and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We must have been mainly talking about Atlantic salmon in that episode. I didn't go back and listen, but we must have been,
Okay.
because that to have it called the Atlantic. And we definitely learned that they're back and forth there between the fresh and salt water.
Yeah.
So it must have been, but we do they're in the Great Lakes as a whole. There are Atlantic ones in there.
Okay.
The coho,
Coho. Yeah.
C-O-H-O.
Coho. Yep.
Thank you.
Coho.
For
Yeah.
some reason that was really hard. And then Chinook, heard of that before too.
Yep.
And then there's just one called a pink salmon.
Oh yeah, the pink ones, the pinkers.
Yeah, they're pink, right? What the fuck? I never heard of a pink salmon before. What is that?
I just said like a bunch of ways, like I know their nicknames. I have no idea, but I know
right.
that
Okay.
I'm just like, the pinkies, the pinkers,
Yeah, the way you said that, I actually took you serious, and I was like, yeah, really? So tell me more. And you're like, I don't know, I never fucking heard of pink salmon either.
Yeah, no, I've heard of them, but
okay.
I don't actually know nicknames. Like I just know that they're just like pink salmons.
Oh, like
so
they are pinker in color.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wild.
Yeah, when you see one, like they're just pink, dude.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're out there. They're in one of the lakes. They're out there. So I already said the lake trout. That one didn't surprise me. I already knew it was out there. I've known people who've gone on charters and stuff into Superior and fished for lake trout. But then there was rainbow trout, and I was like, well, what the fuck, man? I thought rainbow trout were in streams. And of course, there's a lot of water, a lot of tributaries and stuff like that get into Lake Superior. But there's a place you can go fishing for rainbow trout in the Great Lakes. And it was not on the it's not one of the easy ones to find. I was like, why? That is a highly sought after recreational fish and edible fish. But I had to kind of dig to find that one. And I just thought that was weird because, again, I went back and it was just so easy to be like, pikes and muskies and panfish, come get them. And you're like, yeah, but you can get those at any lake. I don't get it.
Right.
So it's very surprising. Anyways.
Dude, I gotta tell you.
Yes,
this
please.
is something that happens every once in a while. If anybody else watches the podcast or listens to the podcast, you hear this happen a lot where something happens and then I go, oh yeah. And then I look into it and I go, turns out I was wrong. Like real fast, real quick.
Tim does real time corrections.
Yeah, because I just go, okay, I guess I've had this like in my head, and then I go, I should really check real quick. Just be like, this is what it's always been in my head. The pink salmons are the sockeye salmons. They're like a very like reddish pink color. Oh, the whole body. Yeah, so that's what I've always assumed was a pink salmon. When you say pink salmon, I just go, yes, of course, that's the pink one. Nope, that's the sockeye. The pink salmon looks kind of like rainbow troutish.
Oh, it does.
Like, yeah, but salmon are some of the weird ones where their shape can change a little bit. Like, I don't know if there's a difference between male and female, but it's like,
I think there is
kind of like brownish green on the top. Yep. But then like the side runs pink. So
like a rainbow trout kind of.
Yeah. So it does have pink on it, but it's definitely not the whole. The sockeye was the one was
the one you were thinking about. Yep. And actually, now that you say that, it must have been sockeye and Atlantic that we were talking about when we talked about steelhead versus salmon. Because sockeye, I remember. Yep. Sockeyes are the ones you always see bears eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, those are almost more red. But those like when
red.
When somebody's like, I mean, when you say pink salmon, if anybody's watching.
Yeah, that's a sockeye.
That's a sockeye. And when you say pink, I go like, oh, of course, that's the pink one.
Yeah. Well, because just like back to the blue walleye, right? You look at it and it's like, oh, it wasn't blue. I mean, it's not blue like a fucking frog from the Amazon, but it's got a blue hue to it.
But that one makes more sense. It's a shining blue hue. That one makes more sense because the blue compared to a regular walleye, that one's definitely blue.
Gotcha.
Where you got a pink salmon, you're just like the pink salmon, and then you look at the other one, and you're just like, this one's the pink salmon, not that bright ass pink one. Oh man, some of that stuff is just like, you could do that for days on different examples. I'm
Right.
sure it's just something
For
else
sure.
got named for earlier or whatever.
Yeah. Like
Just
those are
like
oranges.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Long pointies.
The long pointies. Yeah, that's orange. It's oranges. Perfect. Okay, next on the list, the name is carrots. Shit. Long pointies. But obviously, they didn't say carrots when they were naming them.
Right. But it's a good
It's just-
Dimitri Martin joke. Still.
It's a great Dimitri Martin joke.
Okay,
Oh,
Tim, there's lake
anyways.
sturgeons up there. That kind of makes you want to go hunt a lake sturgeon up there, but they can't be in
Yeah.
Superior, right? Too deep. These things are bottom. They can't be. I mean, these things live in rivers.
I don't know, dude.
I didn't even look into it because I wanted to stick on the fish, but sturgeon, fucking, of course there's sturgeon in there.
It makes sense. Like, if you're a bottom feeder,
right?
I don't know does the water depth even matter
to a sturgeon? I don't know.
You just go to the bottom. I don't know.
I'm not sure either. There's definitely something to that because when you pull up like a halibut or cod, those fuckers eyes pop out of their head and shit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So there's definitely something to it. Yeah, there's definitely something.
Fish get the bends.
That's right. That's what that is, isn't it?
Yeah. You ever see the ones in the ocean where like looks like there's a weird cone coming out of their mouth?
Oh, because their liver comes out, isn't it?
Pushing out. It's like, whoa, they look, and their eyes are bulging.
Yeah. That's
like the ugliest.
I think that's cod that do that. It's fucking gross. It looks like one of those squeezy toys that you get for the kids.
Yeah. I think there's quite a few fish that do it. It's gross. You're right.
It's fucking totally gross, dude.
It's just like, oh, dude, put him back.
You've already killed it, but you're like, throw that thing back. What the fuck is wrong with it?
Oh, God. That one's ugly as shit. I'm not here to catch ugly fish.
Let's talk about white bass for a second because I said it before, and I think I mentioned it in the panfish, which it kind of sort of is. Do you know what a white bass is, Tim?
Yeah. It's like a baby striper.
Yeah, that's exactly what I put down.
Yeah, that's not what they are, but like that's what they look like.
They totally look like stripers.
Yeah. And I want to go fishing for them because they're here in Minnesota. Like you don't have to go to the Great Lakes.
Oh, really?
But I haven't fished lakes that have them. I think they're closer to the southern border, or a lot of the lakes that have them. But clearly, if they're in the Great Lakes, you can also go north.
Yeah, that's why when you said they're fished like towards our southern border, I was like, huh? But the Great Lakes are north. So obviously they're pretty robust fish.
Yeah. Yep. Huh. I think they're a lot. You fish them a lot like crappie. Like you can just use like a minnow, or you can use like smaller baits and stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. I've seen videos of people fishing them. I can't remember if it was the Linders or if it was like the In Fisherman series.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of those two where I watched them. Might have been Doug Stange going out there.
That's a good word. That's a good name. Good fucking name.
Oh yeah.
What is it about these specifically that makes you want to fish them if they're like crappie but they're not bass? Like what?
Oh, I think they're supposed to be good eating, but they're just a good size.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get on some, like I haven't caught them, so it's just exciting to go catch a species I haven't caught before.
Yeah, I know that they're here in Minnesota too. Like it's within your grasp. Yeah,
exactly. Yep, and just good panfish seem to put up a pretty decent fight. They like know how to use their like flat sides. To turn sideways.
Yeah, that more broad-sided body.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're using smaller gear, so it's just fun. Like they're not huge fish, but a fish that knows how to fight, and you're using smaller gear to catch them. It's a good time.
Right. Yeah. That does sound like a good time. And I didn't know. I just assumed so I put it all together. Like I just made a bunch of assumptions, and that's why when you said like I want to go fish them, they're here in the state. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it caught me off guard because I just went stripers. Stripers are near the ocean or in the ocean, and that would be the white bass then too. I'm gonna assume it's just near the mouth of Ontario or something like that. But no, you're just like they're right here in the
Yeah.
lake. Oh,
Yeah.
it was a big surprise to me. So it's cool because they look so much like stripers. I just came to a conclusion without any looking into it. That's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if they have any relation because
To a
I don't
striper.
know. Yeah, and I don't know if a striped bass is like technically one of those like the largest panfish in the world. You know, like it's one of those where you haven't you don't know about it, and all of a sudden they hit you with that, and you're just it's one of those where it's just like you grow up and you're thinking perch are related to bass because they have the big mouths with no teeth,
Yep.
and they're just like actually those are related to the walleye.
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay, cool. And then they go rock bass, and you're just like, oh, the rock bass are ugly little bass. And they're just like, technically not a bass at all. And you're just like, what are you guys doing with these names?
Man, you're fucking me up over here.
Yes, just wow, I'm so frustrated. What's happening?
We got to talk about the sea lamprey before we wrap up the topic, which we're not super close to. But
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
what do you want to tell me?
I just
The name
know that
is
they're
just
scary.
yeah, they are fucking scary, dude. Just look up a photo and you're like, fucking what the fuck? Now these are invasive, and this is why I can't get away from it with the research, and we have to get into it quick. I'm gonna kind of wedge it here in the middle before we get into some like one more goofy one, and then I want to get into some other stuff. But where I'm going with it is this is the sticky eel thing.
Yeah.
With that gnarly mouth
With the
that like
circle mouth, bro.
yeah, dude, that mouth that you've seen in every horror movie ever that has worms in it.
Yeah, that they blow up in like all the like space desert movies. Like it would if it's a space desert, there's one of those giant worms that lives in the sand, man.
Yep. Including
like
in Beetlejuice, the same thing.
in Beetlejuice, in Star Wars, in
Anything?
Dune.
Yeah.
Dune has that version, and it's like the biggest one you've ever seen. Just engulfing like city size vehicles that are driving, and they're just like, the worms are coming, we gotta get them out of there, and we're not gonna get them, just let them go. And then they leave, and the whole giant thing gets engulfed by this worm that makes it look small. Just,
Thousands of people
dude.
just gone.
Yeah, and then it doesn't matter if it's massive or not, man. It's they're scary. That
They're
little
so freaky
circle
looking.
mouth full of teeth.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, dude. If
Gives you the fucking creeps.
If a leech had a mouth like that, I would never use leeches again.
Yeah, dude, exactly. They're fucking yes. Ugh. So gross.
Ugh,
So
yeah.
those are invasive from the Atlantic Ocean. Actually, there are lampreys that are native to the ocean, to the Great Lakes.
Okay.
But they typically are on the inlets, more on the inlet, the body's water draining into the lakes, and they can get out into the lake and stuff like that. But they evolved here and everything, like, so it's all good. They're just part of the ecosystem. They're non-invasive.
Sure.
They're native. They're good. They've found their harmonious balance. But these sea lampreys are so big, and that they will kill fish. Actually, like they're supposed to be just a parasite stuck on to something. But these lampreys are just so big, and they came from the ocean that as big as the bodies of water as these Great Lakes are, the fish aren't, right? They're not fucking whales.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah, the fish that we have in Superior, there's not like they get big, but there's nothing like what you see in the ocean.
Yeah.
We have an ocean, like we have a body of water that makes you feel like it's an ocean. Right. And our fish are nowhere near what you get in the ocean.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Not even close. No.
Yeah.
Not
and those lamprey, close. Like even if it's just the smaller ones, but those lamprey get bigger.
Yeah.
They are like a parasite. They latch on and they just keep feeding off the host.
Yeah, and
And
growing.
eventually they get bigger
Right.
and they basically just suck it dry.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh man.
So that yes.
I, s-
Yep. So that's
I
the
said
sea
that like
lamprey, but there
I said
are
that
there
like the
are more
clip
than
of a
one
different.
lampreys in the Great Lakes, and it was cool to learn about how there's just ones that just exist. It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
okay. Still don't want to fucking run into them. Ew.
Right. No. No. I don't care how big it is.
Nope.
No. It's like a centipede in your house, you know?
Right. Uh
Doesn't need to be a big one to just be like, ew, dude, get it, get it.
huh. There's two kinds of gobies. You know,
Ooh,
yeah.
yes, I do know what a goby is because they make different goby colored baits a lot because you can
Really?
fish them in. Yeah, because they I think they even make goby like soft plastics. Some of them where
What?
it looks like a goby.
No shit.
Yeah,
Because a goby's
yeah,
a weird looking fish. Like the first time I learned what a goby was what those ones that fucking use their weird arm fins to crawl across the desert.
yeah, dude. Yeah, they just kind of glide around the ground.
Yeah.
That's why some of the baits work so well. Um, some lakes have gobies in them, and then if you do like a Carolina rig, you can like that's why it'll be so effective is because
Mhm.
you're fishing it like how a goby swims.
Mm.
Because a Carolina
Mhm.
rig, if people aren't familiar, is kind of like it's like if a Texas rig and a Lindy rig had a baby. Like a
Which still
it's
I'm lost, but keep
oh,
going.
so in a Texas rig, you have a bullet weight and it sits right in front of the hook.
I'm sure you've told me
And
this
then
before too. I just want
some people peg the bullet weight in place so you
Mhm.
can let the bullet weight like move
Oh yeah,
so
this
the line
sounded
goes
familiar.
freely, or you
Keep
can
going.
peg that weight right in front of the hook. So for this, we'll just say we're pegging the weight in front of the hook, right? So it's like a
Mhm.
peg, a bullet weight, hook, and then you put your soft plastic on that hook.
Okay.
And that's all it is. So you're just kind of like jigging it like you would a jig,
Uh-huh.
except for it's just sitting, different.
Yeah.
On a Texas rig or on a Carolina rig, you have that same bullet weight, and that is like I don't know exactly how long the tagline is, but we'll say like 2 feet
Mhm.
in front of where the hook is, and there's like a swivel, and it'll
Mhm.
go weight. I think they put the bead behind the weight, and I don't
Mhm.
know what the bead is there for. I don't know if it's there for fun, for looks. I don't know. Like that's how people do a Carolina rig. It's like weight, bead, and then your swivel or whatever,
Mhm.
and then a line goes back to your hook, and then you have a bait back there,
Mm.
and you don't jig it, you just reel it.
Oh, you just
It just
pull.
drags across the bottom.
Okay.
So
And
you
that's
got
what you put a goby on, basically?
yeah, yep,
Mm.
and that's or you can do it with like a crayfish too,
Sure.
because a crayfish can sometimes just kind of scoot across the bottom.
Yep.
So that's the Carolina rig. You're just dragging the bait across the bottom instead of
Right.
jigging anything.
Yeah. I
And
didn't even know
that's
that
that's
gobies existed around here, so that's why I was like, "Whoa," because they're weird looking
yeah,
fish.
I think it is more like deep, clear water
Mhm.
areas.
Mhm.
They might have gobies on Mille Lacs, but I'm not
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
But they're
But
around.
yeah,
Like, you've seen it
they
before.
are weird looking fish.
They yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's almost
And
like
they
the
they
eyes
make
aren't in the head either. Like, I don't know. You know how fish
oh
always are just
yeah,
like the fucking eyeballs
yeah.
are in the head? These are kinda like like a goby kinda has their eyes on propped up a little bit? It's kinda
Yeah,
weird.
it's they're kind of like cartoony. Like the eyes are out
Yeah.
there and then it's like that kind of like the skin is like over the eyeballs. It's kind of
Yeah.
like a frog,
Yeah.
which I
Well, that's a
wonder
good way to put it.
here's a little weird fact that I just learned, which I wonder if the goby has it there to help it with other things because I just learned that frogs swallow part of the things that they do when they're swallowing is they use their eyeballs.
Eyeballs.
to
Yeah, dude.
swallow
To
because
swallow. They can like push them
they like
down.
move them
Yeah.
in or whatever.
It's like a tongue on top of your head or something.
Yeah,
It's fucking weird.
it's like something with their saliva is like sticky because of how they like catch bugs, and the
Uh-huh.
eyeballs help like force that like you know
It's like
instead of
that
that
thing being
peanut butter getting stuck on the roof of your mouth type deal, their eyeballs are like pushing the roof down, so it's just like
have them get the peanut butter off the roofs of their mouths. Yeah.
that's what it is. They got far superior animals than us.
Right. They don't have the peanut butter problem.
They don't have that
Chalk
at
one
all.
up for frogs.
Win frogs. Everything else, put it in our category. Well, they can jump high too. They can jump way far. So
Oh yeah, they get like they got
they win.
body length and jumps. We don't have that. Yeah. So the
Now we
sixth
just go
kind
off on
is
a tangent. The next 15 minutes is just us like just pull up, just grab our markers. What else are frogs better at?
We're not even talking about frogs, but now all of a sudden we just got this categories. We just go off. Hold on, I got a whiteboard. Let me just hold on.
we got to get to the bottom of this. Are frogs better than humans?
You chime in the comments.
Yeah.
Okay, 6 kinds of sunnies. I said, Tim. You've said before. It's so fucking hard to tell the difference of pumpkin seed, fucking bluegill, whatever. You know, like you probably
Right.
are better, but to the average person, let's be honest,
Yeah.
it's a fucking
Pumpkin
sunfish.
seed is the one that's easy to tell. The rest of them
Okay.
are hard.
Okay.
Because pumpkin seeds are the ones that are like bright as hell.
Oh, okay.
But the rest of them, there's just like subtle differences where there's
Sure.
like, here's a little bit of white and blue on that like their gill plate has that like darker circle. And like some of them have like a little white and blue and there's a little red dot or whatever. And their stripes are a little bit different. Like there's a little bit of blue and orange mixed into this one. This one's like kind of grayish with blue. It's like there's very subtle differences. And I can't tell you what most of them are. I just know
because
I know the difference between pumpkin seeds and then there's the rest of them. And I don't really care.
There's the rest of them. I don't care. That's the best way, dude. I love that. I love it. So I called this one a sunny. Actually, I think it might have been classified as one, but anyways, it doesn't matter because it was under the panfish category. And I just looked through them except for the black and white crappies. Fucking super easy, whatever. Those are crappies.
Sure.
But it was, it labeled them. The list that I had found, it labeled them, bluegills, pumpkins, all this shit. And then there was one called a warmouth.
Oh yeah, the warmouth.
You know what that is?
I know the name. Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
I'd called it a sunny. It's kind of, it's not exactly, but it is.
Yeah.
You've seen these things before?
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever caught one, but I've looked through the books quite a bit, seen all the different things. Because there's the warmouth and there's the red ear, and then there's like the hybrids between like the different ones, because obviously they can all mate together. They look
right.
exactly
Yeah. And
the
that's what I
same.
was even going to say when trying to identify them. I'm like, is it even fucking possible when there has to be just like shitloads of hybrids happening?
Right. Yeah. It's probably like an opinion thing, even where you show the DNR, you got like
right.
5 out of 6 guys will agree, and then 6 guys just like, I don't know, guys. I don't know.
Right.
That little bit of tinge on this and that, I think it might be this.
Yep.
And people are like, I can see your argument, but I think it's this. And it's like a debate type thing where it's just like, I'm over here just like, if I don't give a shit, dude. it's a sunfish. Man.
It's a sunfish. I'm gonna eat that motherfucker. But the warmouth was new to me, so I had to just bring that up and go, huh, look at that.
Yeah, I remember seeing that when I was a kid, and I was just like, that's got to be the coolest name sunfish for sure.
Yeah, dude.
The warmouth. And then,
do you know what a darter is?
Yeah, there's Johnny Darters, but they're like bait fish. But I was gonna say, like, the funny part is if you just gave people the names and you're just like, what would you rather encounter, a warmouth or a lamprey?
Yeah,
just be like a warmouth. What's scary about a lamp? And just be like, oh, you royally.
Let me
fucked up.
show you. They pull them out of a tank,
Yeah,
throw them in their face like man on the street stuff.
yeah. A warmouth all day, please.
Get that fucking lamprey away from me. God damn it. There's like a
Is that fucking
natural
space
human
worm?
avoidance that's just built into our DNA that you see that lamprey and instantly just fucking
Oh, dude.
shivers up your back, butt clenches.
Yeah. Any mouth with teeth is scary, and then you're just like, it's a circle mouth that has teeth all the way around it.
Right.
Get out of here! It's
Fucking get
freaking crazy space worm. Ah.
Yeah, there's lots of darters anyways. Back to that. Just okay,
Yeah.
let's brush over it. But I just want to know,
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay. But there's like a lot of
Yeah.
there's
They're just minnows, right?
yeah, they're small. They're just
They're just
if you just Google darter, they're all tiny, but there's like a bunch of different kinds. And that's one of the bigger things too. Once I actually finally got down into this list of shit, there's, Cisco's and all these other fish. Like, yeah, you can catch and eat Cisco's or whatever, right? But like there's just all these different kinds of minnows and bait fish, and like all these, once I finally got a good list, a lot of these are just bait fish. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
There's 7 different kinds of minnows, 3 different kinds of darters. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's important things to know though, because then when like we had the other episode where it's talking match the hatch, it's just match what the bait that they're using is.
Shit.
Sometimes
Good point.
bright colored stuff can teach us stuff, but like that's why I know about these things is because when you're going to a lake, the color of the water can dictate it differently. But sometimes when you're fishing in like ultra clear water, you just want to match the bait fish, because
Right.
if you use something bright, the fish is going to be put off. Like a lime green lure might not catch dick on clear water.
Right.
But if you go and the water's super dirty, that lime green, they might bite because they see it.
Right.
And it's like whatever, they're excited about seeing something because they're just like, I haven't seen anything in years. It's just such a gross lake. Nah, I shouldn't say gross, but just like the color is not appealing, It's,
to a human to swim in. That's what, like, that's pretty much our measurement of if a water is gross or not, right? It's like, is it clear enough for me to think I can swim in that?
Right. Yeah, because it's kind of creepy when like you can't see anything. It's just like, what's going on in this water?
Yep.
And just, oh yeah.
Yep,
Anyways,
but I think that's our measurement, right? Like that's the Tim and Josh measurement of it. If it lake's gross or not is, do I feel like swimming in that?
Right. I mean, like, well, because if you have like a foot of visibility, like if you're in clear water and you want to go jump in the water and you can see that there's thick weeds there, you're like, I'll go to a different spot that's a little bit deeper. It looks better. And you're in a lake that's like dirty and you're like, I'm going to jump in here, and you jump in and it's immediately you're engulfed in weeds. You're just like, oh dude, what am I in?
Exactly. And so that's how you gauge if it's gross or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
If you can't see anything, it's kind of gross.
Agreed. Let's just do one quick stat thing here. Just, me doing research, pulling out stats before we take off. The fishery value of the Great Lakes is $7 billion, which I was like, holy shit, nice. A lot of water. Because it's commercial fish. That's, licensed recreational fishing and stuff like that. Count all that in.
Yeah.
$7 billion and 75,000 jobs they chalk up to the Great Lakes. Just those big old bodies of water.
Yeah, it's just $1 billion industry.
Right.
That makes sense. When you said it at first, I was like, what are we talking about here? Like, I just didn't understand. Like, okay, it's like as far as industry goes, this speaks. Like when you initially said it, I was like you're putting a price on it. Like somebody could just show up and just be like, you got these billionaires and they're just like, you guys thinking about like buying the Lakers? You want to go half on the Lakers or whatever? Just be like, I think I'll buy all of the Great Lakes. Just like, what are you talking about?
Instead, no, of course not. That makes the commercial fishing and the recreational fishing, and just like the fishing, the fishery, that is the Great
Sure.
Lakes. That's what they value it at.
Sure.
Yeah.
That was
So
just
that's
that's
spread
just my
across.
dumb brain. It's just my brain every once in a while does stupid things. What are we talking about here?
It was
Obviously,
good.
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it was funny. But the thing, dude, and I see this way too much, is it's just like, you know what? A lot of this, like when it comes to the commercial fishing over there, the main money makers are whitefish, walleye, and yellow perch. It's like, wow. Yeah, walleye I see. Perch, I didn't
Oh,
really realize was commercial fish so much. But whitefish, god damn it. So generic. What is that?
yeah,
Why? How come? I feel
whitefish.
that's
I get it.
generic. It is generic, I mean.
Isn't that kind of like a freshwater drum almost?
Oh, yeah, I mean
Like white,
there are
I think,
drums in the Great Lakes for sure. So,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, just whitefish. I don't know for sure, but it makes sense because whitefish is just like, there's smoked whitefish or there's whatever. I think
Mhm.
whitefish is like cut into a lot of stuff. Like
Mhm.
it's not necessarily that like people are buying a lot of whitefish, but whitefish is like
Mhm.
the byproduct of a lot of different, fillers or whatever.
Right.
Where
Like you get
it's
walleye
yeah,
fish sticks and it's walleye's the first ingredient and the immediate second ingredient is whitefish.
sure, yep,
I mean,
yep,
I'm making that up. I've never
yeah,
I don't buy enough fish sticks to know, but like it seems like that's a possibility.
right, yes,
Or that's kind of what you're
that's
alluding to.
that. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's kind of my assumption. Where I feel like I've looked at other ingredients and it's
Mhm.
just like whitefish, it's just like
Mhm.
thrown in there, and you're like, oh, there's some whitefish or whatever. Like
White flesh
imitation
fish, I
crab
guess.
probably has whitefish.
Artificial crab does for sure.
Yeah,
Has
right.
pollock in
So,
it and then whitefish. I don't know
whitefish.
that, but I know it does. I know it does.
Yeah.
Just,
And it's probably filler for like how you said too with walleye, like tuna or whatever.
mm,
There's probably other stuff that's not 100% tuna.
right.
It's just
You
like
get the pre-mixed tuna
albacore tuna.
pouch, like
Yeah.
sandwich make or something like that, and
Yep.
yeah,
Just a little bit of whitefish filler in there.
probably.
Yep.
All right, dude. What do you say? Should we move on to the random take where we're going to talk about some professional sports? Because I was curious.
Let's
I'm like, besides baseball, what are
do
people
it.
doing in the summertime?
Yeah.
All right, let's jump onto it. Hit the break. Here we are, patreon.com/realaftv. That's right, patreon.com/realaftv. Real like fish and real. We are on Patreon and we are coming to tell you, and by we, I mean me and Tim, Real AFTV podcast here,
Yep.
coming to you to say we have a Patreon as low as $1 a month, but hey, you could go up to 100 if you really wanted to get crazy with it. It's there. Go over to our website, realaf.tv. You can find the Patreon link right there, or go to Patreon and look us up, Real AFTV, Real Like Fish and Real. And we have things like for $50 a month, we will customize. What kind of tackle is it, Tim? We have some in the warehouse right now that we haven't actually ran out.
A lure. Yes.
Lure. Thank you.
Is a crankbait.
Crankbait.
Yes, we will customize a crankbait for you.
At
Yes.
the $50 tier. Also, Patreon, if you're new to the whole Patreon thing, if you're on a podcast, you're probably not that new to it. But Patreon is something that you can jump in and out of. Like if you do $50 this month, bam, you get the custom lure, but you don't want to do that for the whole year. You jump down to the $5 a month tier where you're going to get early access content. You can help vote on the random take, one of the random takes for the month. And, we'll keep up with you on Patreon as well. Like just a direct Patreon contact. There's communication you do only through Patreon. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you're new, there's just a little intro to it.
Yeah. And to clarify that custom painted lure is a fully custom painted lure, like the pattern and everything. That won't be just something that we have a lure that we just like write Real AFTV on.
Yes. Thank you, Tim. Thank you for clearing that up, because yes, it's a slug, for lack of a better word, right now, and it will be turned into something.
Right.
I'm not good at the whole fishing lingo, so maybe Tim, you could evaluate on that a little, or like elaborate on
Yeah,
that.
I mean, it's yeah. Right now, it has no color, and I will give it color.
There we go.
It will look like a bait fish imitation of some sort. It might not be exactly colored. It might not be realistic. You know, some of that stuff out there
Yeah.
that the different companies work with makes different stuff, but it will be a custom painted lure, and it won't look like dog shit. Because not to be too full of myself, but I have some talent.
You have some artistic talent. Yes.
Yeah.
Very true. If you know friends and family and stuff like that got a few bucks to kick our way, let them know. RealAF.tv. Scroll down a little bit. There's the Patreon link. It'll shoot you right over. Sign up for a little bit.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Real AF TV podcast show about fishing random takes from land 10,000 lakes. You've made it to the random take, and I always say welcome back, but that's just because this is a roughly 2-hour long podcast, and that is over on Spotify and iTunes and YouTube and all that stuff. If you're on YouTube on the Friday and you're catching just the random take, well, good. Glad you're here. You missed some crazy shit about lampreys. we really laid into how much those things creep us the fuck out.
Yeah. They are evil, I think, is the best.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think you're right.
Evil.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Every sci-fi movie would teach us that. Anyways.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're not the only people that think it.
Right.
Every sci-fi movie director is just like, what's the most evil thing I can think of to have as an alien? And they just be like, giant space worm. And then just everybody's on board. They go, of course. What? Duh.
So obvious once you see it. All right, let's get into the random take here. We are going to talk about summer pro sports.
Oh, America! Are you serious? It's
Are you
awesome, baby!
The jock jams.
Yeah, dude. I knew it. I knew there's just no way that couldn't be identified by someone our age immediately.
Yeah, if anybody else listening that doesn't know, like Josh queued that up. I didn't know it was coming. It's just like, oh, of course that's jock jams. I can't remember what year that was, but that was like, that's like the summer jam. Like it's just on the radio constantly. Oh, America, are you serious?
It's just like, you got jock jams. That's it. You hear that? You
jock
know
jams. It. Yep.
Funny thing though is it always reminds me. Oh no, it's not funny. I know why. Because of fucking Space Jam. I guarantee Space Jam used the same song that was on Jock Jams. Probably. Who knows how that all happened? Was it organic? I don't know. But I bet you that there had to have been something connected there.
It's possible. Jock Jams was in like the weird ass era of where they started putting like real audio in the songs, and it was just weird. Where they're just like, here's Jock Jams. And it's like, and look at him go, and look at him go. He could go all the way. And then they just like
commentators in the song. Yeah. So you're right. Maybe there was just a basketball specific song that really got me.
Because they started doing it with movies too, where they'd have like the song play, and then like in the lull of the like where it's just like, here's the part where you just listen to the instruments.
Yep.
They would play like quotes from the movie. You had me at hello. And just like, why did it say you had me at hello?
What the fuck? What is going on here? And then you realize later, like that was the Jerry Maguire soundtrack edition.
Yeah, exactly.
And not the original song. And you're like, oh, well, somebody should give me a fucking heads up on that.
Yeah. And they did it with the Titanic one too. With the Celine Dion song.
Mm-hmm.
Near. Go, Jack. And just like, you just whispered "Never Let Go" in there.
What's going on here? Who directed that? Song sounds fucking weird now.
It was weird. They tried it with a couple more, and then everybody else is just like, okay, enough of this already. Can we just listen to the song? That was a fad that came and went pretty quick. They stopped doing it, never came back, never did it with another.
Don't do it again, please, producers.
No, never.
Just don't.
Stop.
We don't need it.
Stop.
The music's fine
Right.
by itself, okay? You don't need to fucking throw in your. It feels like an ad in the middle of the song.
Yeah, if I want to hear quotes from the movie, I'll watch the fucking movie.
Exactly.
They don't do that in any other aspect of anything, you know. It's just like you're not in the. I mean, in the movies, sometimes they'll do like little clips of the music, but that's in the background because that's what you do. You don't do it the other way around,
Right? Yes.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Where you have dialogue that's playing over the song when the song you low the song. You lower the levels on the song, bring the dialogue back in, and then you swap it. That's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like us just playing a song in the middle of just you're just like music for a little while. And people would be like, "What are you guys doing?" And just like, I don't.
We just play 30 seconds of songs in the middle of the podcast.
I think sometimes it could be funny, but for the most part, like if you're doing a serious podcast and we're just talking about My Heart Will Go On, there's every once in a while we just click the play button.
Yeah.
And like pause it and keep talking. Just like, what was that?
And now it's funny if you just lead in with it, and now in 2.5 minutes, I were to throw Your Heart Will Go On in the middle of the podcast. That's funny. That's a joke.
Yeah. If you just use it as drops where I'm just like, all right, let's get into the first one. Near, far, where, and then you just cut it off there and we're back. It's just like, the randomness, I think, would make it funny.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
I think I'm not.
But that's the thing about the music. They weren't trying to do it randomly. They were like trying to be artistic about it.
And also, these podcast episodes would be something that you listen to one time and then done. You know, like you listened to that one time and you heard that funny thing.
Yeah.
And I remember some of that stuff being like, too, where the first time I heard it, I laughed. Where you're just like listening and then all of a sudden they play it and you just go, what the fuck was that? They just put movie lines in the middle of the movie now or the song.
Right. And the shitty part is it's on the fucking top 50 playlist. So every time you hear it on the radio, you have to hear the fucking dialogue.
Yeah, exactly. The first time you hear it, you're just like, oh, that was weird. And then like 20 times later, you're just like, oh my God, I don't want to hear these movie quotes anymore. just done with it.
Oh shit. Okay.
Oh, America! Are you
serious?
It's awesome, baby!
Awesome, baby! Let's get into the sports now that we went on a 5.5 minute fucking music rant. But is totally relevant. But I wanted to kick it off with I have this basketball association. There's one hockey song, and everybody knows what that is, but I don't have a cue for it. But anyways, there's one hockey song, and then everything else. Jock jams for me was basketball. I don't know why. That's how it evolved in my life. And I was poking around because I've been thinking about baseball, and I'm like, what other people do? Because the NFL Network is a whole thing. I'm like, what do those guys fucking do in the summertime? They play replays. That's what they do. They get the fucking 60s and they play them again. But stumbled upon this thing, and I texted him about it prior to this, and I was like, I think this might be a topic. And I found the NBA Summer League.
Yeah.
Dude, I had to text you to figure out what the fuck it even was. Because all you can find is like schedules. And that's it.
Sure.
Like I was having such a hard time, and it just says something about rookies, but it doesn't go into any. It just every article that I tried to read prior to deep dive research, where I was just trying to find, like I said, what is this NBA Summer League? And they're like, here's the schedule. Yeah. Find the NBA Summer League, NBA 2K League Summer League, brought to you by the NBA. And it's like, what the fuck, man? And I had to text you.
Yeah.
And you cleared it up for me. What the fuck is it? Tell the people.
I think it's kind of like a multiple like aspects of it. Like how you said the 2K Summer League or whatever. Like they're also there right now, like in between playing. They're going like they get ready for the game, right? So they're like dressed to play.
Okay.
And then I believe it's like that same day that they're going in and they're getting their 2K like game work done.
Oh, no shit.
So yeah, so they're like sitting there on like a stool, and
Yeah.
there's like a bunch of cameras.
They get scanned.
Yeah, they get scanned because they're, you know, these rookies are like the legit guys that have been drafted are getting that work done. G League dudes and stuff like that, like they're not getting that. But
So
if you
yeah,
got
tell
drafted,
what the league is though, because I do remember, but I just want you to explain it again, so I'm even kicking off on a good foot here.
So it's basically like a tournament of like all the new guys with the rookies and stuff, and I don't know 100%, you know, so don't quote me on this. I don't know 100% about like which players are allowed, but like all you see is rookies and like the G League guys, like
minor
the
league players.
Right, exactly. The
okay.
basketball minor leagues are called the G Leagues, and they have their own different teams and stuff too.
Sure.
So they basically just get together, and it's like some of the rookies that you've heard of that just got drafted, some of your other guys you might hear of because we've had them like on 10-day contracts or whatever.
Whoa.
You know, because there's do you know about those?
No.
So in the NBA, when there's injuries and stuff, you don't have a roster like you have with football and stuff.
Oh.
So because the roster's not that big, if you have a couple of injuries and guys are going to be gone for a while, you got to fill a spot. And if you can't trade or make a move or like sign a free agent that's out there, you pull your guys up from the G League.
Oh.
So you get guys that are relatively good at playing basketball, but they're just not quite to that NBA level. They're just like, there's something off about their game or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
That they didn't want to sign them to a full contract.
Okay.
So you can bring them in for that 10-day contract, and they'll literally come up and be able to play for you while your guy is hurt. Like, we need to fill a space.
That's pretty
have
dope.
Too many injuries. Yeah. So they'll have their 10-day contract. They come up. Sometimes they get reinstated. I don't know what all the rules are there, where if it's just like, here's your 10 days, we'll give you another 10 days. I know Luka Garza, it was a rookie last year, and we had him on our team, but he like didn't dress for any of the games, and it was some weird red tape stuff where it's like we didn't want to activate him, because if we activated him, then we wouldn't be able to use him later in the year.
What?
Like there was like you could only use him for like a short amount of time because he was like one of those G League roster type players. And I think he was like the MVP of the G League All-Star game or whatever it was, some weird thing like that. It was weird, like where he's hoisting up a trophy and you're just like, it's awesome that you won it. I have no idea what that is though, but good for you.
I'm glad you're really good at something basketball. I mean, props to you, but I don't fucking get it.
Yeah. Glad you're like the best of the guys that couldn't make it or something. I don't know.
Or like, I don't know.
But yeah, it was something like that where he was like on the bench, not dressed for every game, but he was there like ready if we needed him. Weird. And the reason we never, because I was always just like, he's really good. Like, can't we just put him in? And then they'd say it's just like, well, he's like good, but like if we activate him, then we might not have him when we need him later. And just like, okay, whatever that means.
Weird.
Yeah.
Almost like they have 30 days and that's it. They get 3 times they can get called up from the G League or some shit.
Yeah, it's something where
he's got 3 lives, man. We can't burn them all.
Yeah, where it's like we have too many people that are technically on the roster, and we can use this temporary guy so many times before we would have to physically cut somebody to make room for him. I think is kind of what it factors out to be, but I don't want to say for sure because I don't know, but I do know it was
you're
some
speculating
sort of
based on your years,
speculating off of parts of things I've heard. You know, it's half facts.
Yeah,
where they're like, there's definitely
it's a
a reason
halfway
for
educated
this.
guess. I get it.
Yes,
that works.
It's basically a tournament where it's like all these guys, they are there. You know, the Wolves are being represented by the Timberwolves. They're either guys that are on, from my understanding, they're either guys that are on our G League or that are rookies that haven't played yet. They're just brand new.
Okay, and
then it's the same thing with all the other teams. So you have all the teams in the league have,
representation. Like they all play
Yeah.
however many
Yep.
teams. I'm not up on NBA, but like every team brings a team to the table or
Yep.
to the
Yep.
tournament, I should say. And so
Yep.
they're really, so there's the G League, and I'm going to make this up completely. You can go look up the G League on your own, or if Tim, but like, for instance, there's the Minnesota Timberwolves. They play out of Minneapolis. Then there is I don't know. I'm going to make this up completely. But then there are the Minnesota Gray Wolves, and they are out of Moorhead, Minnesota. And that's the G League affiliate of what amounts to the Minneapolis Timberwolves. That's a different team, right? Like the G League is not the Timberwolves, right?
Yeah.
It's not
So
the Minnesota Timberwolves.
here's the weird thing is that I just had to Google it because I knew it wasn't here. The weird thing is that it's not even out of Minnesota. The G League Wolves are the Iowa Wolves.
That's the same as the Wild, dude.
Is it?
Yeah. So they had the Houston Arrows were our minor league hockey team. Yeah. And they moved them up to Iowa, and they just call them the Iowa Wild. Is it just that simple?
Weird. Yeah. And that's the same thing with ours. I don't know why it's in Iowa.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's interesting.
Yeah, but they're like legit jerseys. It says Iowa Wolves.
Yeah, just Iowa Wolves, right? They're not the Timberwolves. They're just the Iowa Wolves. Yeah. Or
it says Iowa Wolves. It says Iowa above Wolves.
Above Wolves. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So these are legit teams representing a different city, and they're a minor league team. So when we go to this tournament in the summer, when we go to this NBA Summer League, that's NBA. So they're playing as the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're playing as the San Antonio Spurs, right? Like,
correct. Yeah, these are the actual. Yeah, so they're representing, which is weird because like I mean, they just get to split time. That's what Luka was. That Luka Garza is a member of the Iowa Wolves. But he kept sitting on the bench for all the Wolves games, like as a player, and then did play for us every once in a while.
Yeah, for he benched the T-Wolves. He was playing on the bench for the T-Wolves.
Yep.
But he was actually a team member of the Iowa Wolves.
Right. And it's like you're a team member for both. It's weird like that. And that's what the G League, or that's what this the Summer League is.
Is them guys to show each other, like, it's to show off their skills, right? It's almost it's like recruiting in a way.
Yeah, I think it's like a recruiting. You want to see how everybody's doing. Sometimes I think you're trying to make decisions on, what you could do or who you could cut. Like you drafted your guys because you watched them a lot on tape and you got to see how they played under somebody else's coaching.
Right.
But now you get to coach them yourself. So you get to see how well they take direction, because as a coach, you don't get to see all that stuff. You get to see how well they did and what they did, what they did and didn't do. Mm-hmm. But you don't always get to see, like, that was a good move. Was he supposed to do that?
Right.
Was he going where he was supposed to go?
Mm-hmm. Or did he just happen to be in the right place at the right time? And that's a nice highlight reel.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of stuff like that where they're really learning on what they can and can't do. And those G League guys, just like that Luka Garza, you're learning. All right, I really like his skill set. I like what he can do. If we have this injury to this player, he's the guy that will.
How does he fit into
he'll fill that role.
Mm-hmm. How does he fit into a 5-man team?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And because they got nothing going on in the summer, it's like, here's our,
right.
Here's where we can figure stuff out, because
workshop some shit.
It's a lot like the preseason of the NFL, where they only have a short amount of time where they're like doing these scrimmage games, but the NFL is so much more physical.
Right.
You're risking injury by playing those kind of games, where basketball is like, you're risking injury, but it's not full contact.
I mean, just like anything physical at all. I mean, even to tie it into fishing, right? Like, if out on practice day, sure. You could fucking activate your tennis elbow, and then what happens come tournament day,
Yeah, exactly.
It's physical. There's a risk of injury no matter what. But I understand what you mean, because football is just so much more physical in the sense of, like, you have to tackle.
Right.
There's no
right.
way getting around tackling.
Right, exactly. It's 100% like the name of the game is I need to get you to the ground,
Right.
and I need to try to stay up.
Right.
That doesn't happen in basketball, you know.
Right. And
People
even in
run
hockey,
each
you
other
can
over,
see like because the physicality of hockey is nobody doubts that hockey's physical,
right.
but in the like all-star game, we'll say they don't
Yeah.
check each other. They just
Right,
don't.
exactly.
They'll
Right,
push each other into
exactly.
the boards gently.
Yeah.
You see those two people, you know, on a different day in a real game, and that one person's
Yeah.
getting fucking laid out against the boards, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that was the same with the NFL, and that's why this last year the Pro Bowl was fucking flag football because they don't tackle anyways.
No way. It was?
Yeah.
I thought they were just playing like a holy shit. I thought that was whoa.
Yeah, they played flag football this year because they don't tackle anyways. So they're just like, why don't we just change it up and
Was it
make
cool?
it be a
Did you watch it?
I didn't get a chance to watch the actual game, but I watched all the highlights of the like skills challenge and stuff.
Yeah.
So
those are fun.
That was still fun to watch.
I love watching that part of it.
Yeah.
Any all-star
It's cool
game,
that they
you
started
just give me that.
Yeah.
I'm cool.
It's cool that they started like implementing like different skill stuff too, where it's not just like football. Like they'll have a dodgeball game. There's a game of dodgeball between the two teams.
Dude.
So it's
hell
stuff like that where it's just like, yeah, dude, let's watch them play
That's
dodgeball.
Super cool.
Like,
hell yeah.
You get like a bunch of the best athletes in the world to just go
Right.
at each other in a different sport.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
watch
fucking
it.
cool. What a great
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So it's fun stuff like that where you know it's not like a combine type thing. It's not like, all right, we're gonna see who can run the fastest and jump the highest. It's like one of them's like a highlight reel catch. Like we're gonna throw the ball and you have a mat,
a foam pit
that
or
you
something.
can land on.
Fuck yeah.
And that's what they did this year where
It's like the dunk contest, but for
yeah,
wide
exactly.
receivers.
That's what it was like. Like Justin Jefferson went up and like caught two balls at the same time, you know, type of stuff like that. Like stuff you just wouldn't ever see in real life because that's not how the game works.
Right.
So, but yeah, cool stuff like that.
That's fucking sick.
I was gonna say, back to the G League. Another reason it exists is because it showcases these new guys. These guys just came out, and instead of having them be on a team where they may be the fifth man, they may be coming off the bench, whatever it is.
Yep.
These guys are starters in the G League. So when they get drafted and you see them and you want to know what they're all about and you want to see them play, like now they're put on the forefront because there's a decent amount of people that don't even watch college ball or didn't follow the team that they were coming from because maybe you watch, you know, we're from Minnesota. Maybe we watch the Gophers, but we don't care about the rest of the teams in the college game because there's so many of them.
Right.
And then when it gets to, oh, that guy from Georgia or whatever that I never paid attention to is now on my team.
Right.
I want to see what he's all about. Now I get to watch him in my jersey.
Right.
You know, play against other people in the NBA. So it's cool. And then you get to see him against other rookies too. So then you get these matchups of just like, oh, this was the biggest matchup in college. These two rookies. And now these two rookies are playing in the summer league. So now we get to see them in the next level. Playing against each other. So it's cool stuff like that. I know I tuned in. Like I wanted to see that guy from the Spurs, the number 1 draft pick.
Okay.
Dude is like just a giant of a man, except for he's just really big. He's really tall. He's not like if you follow basketball, you got like Boban.
Okay.
You ever seen John Wick? I think it's the 3rd one.
I haven't. But keep going still.
John Wick 3, Boban is in there, and he's like one of the assassins that like John Wick has to take out.
Yeah. You've told me this before. I don't know if it's on or off pod, but like keep going.
I'm not ruining anything.
No.
There's no spoilers here. John Wick literally has to kill everyone or he dies. So
that's the premise of the movies.
That's the whole thing.
Right.
If you didn't see it on the first one, then well, the next, I think all They're on 4.
They're on 4 now.
I haven't seen 4, and they're literally just trying to kill him, and he just keeps killing everybody. But Boban is like 7 whatever. He can grab the rim without jumping. He's just standing there, like
Christ,
holding the rim,
dude.
standing there.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And I think this kid's the same, except for he can shoot the 3. Like
Nice.
everybody's, he can shoot because he's just lanky. I got.
So you watch the league. That's what you're saying, right? Jesus, this fucking topic. This is going to be. I have other notes for other summer things, but I think we're just going to end up stuck on the fucking NBA Summer League. But anyways, so you watched it? Like you have a channel that you can watch the Summer League on?
I was on YouTube TV, and I don't know what channel it was being broadcasted on, but yeah, they don't have much else to play, so they're excited to put on whatever. But it was, I watched. I can't remember which teams I watched play first, but I definitely wanted to see the Spurs because they got that. His name is Victor, and I'm sure I'll get way better at saying this name in the future. It's just like
as you hear announcers say it and shit, right?
Yeah, because
he's going pro. He's going to be called up to the bigs.
Yeah, it's Victor Wembanyama.
Okay.
Wembanyama.
Oh.
Wembanyama, and I think he's French. Like,
oh,
that's weird.
So that means it's probably pronounced some different.
He is
way.
7'5".
Jesus Christ, dude. That's a giant person. I'm sitting in a room that's only 7'5".
Mm-hmm. He's like 2 or 3 inches taller than Shaq.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And if you've ever seen Shaq stand next to somebody, that's a giant human. You remember the basketball with Shaq's palm on it, or Shaq's hand on it?
Yeah.
That was printed on. It was like half the fucking ball. You're like, Jesus.
Oh, it's nuts. And then you're just like, those guys can palm the ball. Like, he's not even trying.
It's pretty much a softball to that guy.
Go hold one of those mini balls and then just be like, this is what it feels like to be Shaq.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let me, it looks like you're looking something up. So I'm gonna go on
Shaq.
a little bit.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I just real quick because I found it. Shaq is 7'1". This guy's 4 inches taller than Shaq is.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And he can shoot the 3. Shaq couldn't.
Do you think he just
throws.
drives like a fucking Sprinter van? Like, is that the only thing he can fit in?
Shaq drove an Escalade that was custom made. So it's like the biggest SUV you can buy.
Right.
It had to be like custom made.
And it still had to be custom fitted.
Yeah. So I don't, dude, Sprinter van, maybe. I don't know.
Probably still has to be custom fitted.
Because with the gas pedal and stuff, those legs are so long, the knees.
Right.
Nobody else is built like him. So you don't build a car to accommodate a dude like that.
No. Right. You just can't. How do you sell to normal people? Like, you can't.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking crazy to think about. So this is one thing that I wanted to get into quick before this is, no, let me do this quick. The fact that this is called the NBA 2K League, NBA Summer League, bugs the fuck out of me because
I don't like the way that sounds either.
it sounds so horrible, but also like it's cool that they get to do their scan and everything. It's like, oh, these guys are going to be in the game. Like let's get them in the fucking game. That's cool. But the NBA it's called the NBA 2K. It's the NBA 2K24 NBA Summer League or some shit like that. It's the worst name ever. But the problem is there's the NBA 2K League. That's the professional video game league. The people who play NBA 2K professionally. So this, when as a video game guy, as somebody who follows esports very lightly, it just makes me go, oh, that's such horrible naming. Couldn't they just have said like, I don't know. They shouldn't have. It was bad. It's bad. It feels weird because it feels like they're crossing. These guys are going to be playing video games and real basketball. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways,
no, it's convoluted. It's not a great name.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there is something else going on there. Maybe they do have that going on. But I
which I don't know. I should know because I keep up with the the T-Wolves
Yeah,
pro league fairly decently.
sure. Yeah, and I follow them on Instagram, and I can't even remember uh what our guy's name is. Leonard Miller. Leonard Miller
Mhm.
is our new rookie. He was the top guy we took because we traded away a bunch of first round picks to get Rudy Gobert. So he was
Oh,
like
you're talking
the
about real
highest.
basketball now.
Yes, yeah. So,
Yes.
but he's playing in the he's playing in the summer league because he's a rookie, you know.
Right.
So Leonard Miller is in the real team. He's one of the guys that had the scans done because he was like,
Mm.
I think like the second pick in the second round. We didn't have
Oh,
any
okay.
first round picks because we traded him away or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he got the
So he was
scan done.
technically the T-Wolves first pull in the
Right.
rookie or in the draft.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So he got the scan done, and then I saw like after the scan was done or whatever, he was handed a copy of the game and a PS5.
Fucking A, dude.
They're just like,
That
here you
is
go, dude.
so sick.
Yeah. So I don't know if there is some gaming crossover, but
Right.
it's definitely like we're also taking pictures of the game,
Mhm.
and here's the game and the
Right.
system to play it on. So it's
Right.
like
So 2K
maybe
is
there is
like really in there.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So they're definitely, pushing it. It's
Right.
not just a sponsored deal. It's a like we are part of this. So maybe there is
Right.
more
So
going
yeah,
on
that does
there.
make me wonder if the 2K League is actually playing right now too. Like maybe they went too. This was speaking of they went. I meant they went to Vegas because here's what I was very surprised to see about the league, the summer league. All the games are played in one stadium, Sacramento,
Yeah.
and they play a few games, and then they go to Salt Lake
Yep.
and they play a few games. And so I don't know. You have to imagine that means that Golden State has an advantage and that, the Jazz have an advantage. And then they go to
Sure.
Vegas. Vegas
Yeah.
is like the majority of the tournament.
Right. Exactly.
When did Vegas get a fucking basketball? Or did one of the casinos just build a basketball court in their arena? Like, what? Who the fuck, man? Is Vegas trying to get a basketball team now too?
It's possible that it was just a casino. I don't know. It's been the summer league in Vegas for a while now. So I don't know. It's like it doesn't travel. It doesn't move around. It's just where
there.
it is. I don't know.
Maybe they just play inside the fucking Golden Knights Stadium. We've turned the Excel Center into a basketball court before, so
yeah, it's not hard because they do
just put hardwood on top of the ice.
Yeah,
take
exactly.
down the walls. There you go, basketball court.
Yeah.
Just like basketball court in the summertime, flood it in the winter, ice rink. Like that's how parks work around Minnesota. So I guess
Vegas has a college team.
What?
So
holy shit. God, it's so weird to think about Vegas as a normal place.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how popular it is, but
so maybe they're playing there, you think?
Maybe it has that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure. I gotta check again.
Because they could just build, yeah. Well, that's interesting. So they have always been in Vegas. So obviously there's money being bet on these games too. I mean, let's not dance around that. Let me ask you this. Because this was...
Yeah, UNLV.
Of course I know who UNLV is. I just didn't put it all together.
Yeah.
They're decent. Yeah?
Yeah, they're okay. They're not like that top tier, like even in their football. It's not like that.
I actually know. I feel like I know about it from the basketball tournament, from like the March Madness. Well, maybe not that far, but
I want to say that like they're not that. Well, no, they must be just like the Division 1A, because there's like the Division 1A and then there's the Division 1 like double A.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they are just like straight up Division 1, because I think the Division 1 double A is like slightly different. I don't know. Now I'm just kind of talking on my ass.
But
I
it's just
know-
two guys talking in the garage drinking
Yeah.
beers now at
Yep.
this point.
But I know that they're not like the top tier. But I think
Right.
the UNLV does do pretty good in basketball. A lot better than they do in football.
Yeah, I think so too, because I think that's where I recognize them from. So
Yeah.
I do wonder if that means that, yeah, maybe that's where they're playing. Because obviously
Yeah.
the kids aren't in school, so what the fuck else is that stadium doing, right?
Right. Yeah. And then you probably get, people that are like just kind of hanging around. Oh, that makes a lot of sense too, now that we say it. Because they're right there is all your housing too.
Mm,
Like you got all
Right.
the dorms and stuff. They're not
Right.
being used in the summer. Here's all the space that you guys can stay during
And
your
they fly
tournament.
in these rookies and stuff like that, and you put them in the dorms
Yeah.
for this. Yeah, because it's not being used. Yeah, that's probably what it's happening.
And they just left college, so they're just like they're not all uppity expecting a nice hotel yet.
right.
Put them in the dorm. They know about dorms.
They know. They already fucking know what the dorm life is. They're used to that shit. Just put them in there. Good point. Okay, so the thing I was going to ask you, the championship. Okay, the day this podcast drops is the championship is that night. Like
Okay.
the day the podcast releases,
Yeah.
the summer league championship game is that evening.
Okay.
What does it mean? Does it mean anything? Is it like
No.
hosting up? Is it this, like you were talking about, the guy from the T-Wolves hosting it, holding up this trophy, getting all fucking excited, and yeah, I guess you're the
Right.
best of the guys who didn't make it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there is. I think it's bragging rights. I think it's just to be like,
Mm-hmm.
kind of be
We have the
like,
best
yeah, you guys
potential.
got the number one pick. We didn't even get a pick in the first round. And what's up?
Right.
What's up? That's,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah,
kind of
sure.
bragging rights. Like, people just get excited. It's fun. I think,
Yep.
I honestly, I was kind of telling you, I think it's a goal for them to strive for, to get them to play harder,
Yeah.
to have it be like there's not nothing at stake here. If we win, I don't know, maybe they get a little bit of money their way, which is probably exciting for those kids, because
Right.
even though they're coming up into the league and actually making some money now, a lot of them haven't really had that opportunity to make money. So when you're telling them, maybe there's some
Mhm.
sort of a cash incentive of
Mhm.
first place. I know like the Pro Bowls and stuff are like that, where the winner gets more money than the losers,
Mhm.
but they're also fucking rich that they don't even care.
That they don't even care. Yeah. Like
They're Pro
that amount of
Bowl
money doesn't
football
motivate
players.
them.
Yeah, no, not at all. They're just like, it's the difference between 50,000 and 30,000, and they're just like, so it's like the difference of me playing like an extra 3 minutes in a game.
Right.
It's
Literally
nothing.
3 minutes.
Literally 3 minutes. I might have said this stat on here before, but the WNBA is definitely different than, I think the WNBA is almost on par for like the G League as far as like price and stuff,
Pay. Yeah.
because it's all about how many people you come to get out to the game, like not trying to make it into like a which sex does better in basketball or
No,
whatever,
you're talking
but,
about
like,
it from a
that's-
financial perspective, like simply
Yeah,
just
from-
like financially. I get it.
from financial points, like that's how it works. So the Lynx and the female ball players make far less money because they don't bring in as many people to watch
Right.
the game.
Mhm.
So at Garnett's prime, when he had signed his big contract
With the Celtics or with us?
with us, when
Okay.
he was with us and we gave him his big like 5-year deal or whatever it happened to be, Garnett would make this of the highest paid player on the Lynx. He would make her full year's salary in 1 minute.
1 minute
Uh-huh.
on the court.
1 minute of one game, he would make her full year's salary.
Holy shit. That's fucking crazy to think about, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Well-
when you think about being like one of the biggest stars in the NBA and how many fans and how many people
Yeah. How
are
many
out there, how
jerseys
many
does he
people are
sell and
buying
how
your
much?
jerseys? Yes,
Mhm,
there's so much to it. Like,
Oh, for sure. It is. It's economics, and like it. You're 100% correct with this. It's economics. You are not
Right.
talking about female basketball and male basketball. You were talking about economics.
Economics.
Simple.
Yes. And
That's all there is to it.
I also wasn't talking about like the highest paid WNBA player. That was
You
the
were talking
highest
about the
paid
highest
player for
played
the
on
Lynx.
our team, even though they were a
Yes.
championship team that year and they should have had the highest player in the NBA. That's not how it always works.
Exactly. Happens.
Yep, for sure. Before we wrap, Tim, I want to ask you one question because you were already kind of looking at jerseys and stuff like that. And so I have a curiosity of, did you see anything around the summer league of like merch? Is there anything special about those jerseys that they go out and wear during this tournament? You know, because
No.
I know throughout the year, and you've talked about it before, they have special jerseys that come out. You know, I don't know
Sure.
what an example is right now off the top of my head, but like
Yeah.
baseball, they'll get the digicam. They'll have like digicamo brims on their hat.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And then
Okay.
you can go buy
Yeah.
that. Also, they'll make that merch and then you can go buy that merch. And so this is a special NBA event. Is there anything special about the jerseys? Do you know? I don't mean to put you on the spot because I know you didn't dive in, but
No.
like,
So I don't know. I don't think so, but like I was looking at them where the numbers and the lettering on the front looks a little bit different,
oh,
and I don't. It the only thing I see when I look at it is just like I don't know if that is a summer league specific deal or if those are something that like that's just kind of how we changed. But it does look a
mhm.
little bit more like the Iowa the font, you know.
So specifically talking about the Wolves franchise, the Timberwolves franchise, you're saying specific to that group, the summer league jersey looks more like the G League jersey, but they are definitely playing a full Timberwolves, like Minnesota Timberwolves game for the
Right.
NBA team while they're in Vegas.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See, okay, so that dude, that the reason why I ask is because that makes me pumped. Like I'd be so stoked to see somebody wearing one of those fucking jerseys. Like I just went to the mall and somebody had a summer league jersey on. I'd be like, that guy, he fucking gets it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. Well, and I was just looking at them. They do have the same like main sponsor.
Oh,
during, you know, like, because are you familiar with the sponsors on everybody's jerseys?
yeah. The NBA now sells a patch on the shoulder.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
each team has a different sponsor, and it's the same in the G League as it is, but I don't know if it's the same as the Iowa Wolves.
Gotcha.
So that's maybe.
Right.
I don't know.
Interesting. Just a thought that I
it's-
wanted to wrap up with, I guess, basically.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Dude, when I'm looking at the Iowa Wolves, it doesn't look like they do have the same sponsor.
Oh,
So I don't know. But it is kind of like the same text, but that one looks like it has a completely different sponsor, like on the stomach underneath.
yeah. Like the WNBA has that, I believe.
Yeah. So it's definitely slightly different, but we'll have to see. Maybe when it starts. These days, there's so many different jerseys and alternate jerseys and stuff
Right.
that maybe it's normal and we're just getting to see a little bit of it first.
The preview is this summer. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So we'll see. But no, I don't think I got much to say about summer. I know that like we went and saw the minor league ball here in town on just Thursday.
Sweet.
Got some tickets from work and brought Beckett.
Bitchin'.
And then as soon as we're done, he's like, I want to be a baseball guy. Just like, all right, dude. Like, I'm glad that you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah,
when you were
dude.
checking it out.
The Rocks you're talking
Yeah.
about? You hadn't seen the Rocks?
Yep.
I had them down,
Yep.
but like we already hit our time limit and I was going to like talk about that. But
Yeah.
no, that's sick, dude. I love that. You got to go see that and he was pumped on it. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So just a little bit of insight I guess that's what I'll finish it off with. Just be like, that's what we're doing as far as summer sports is went and checked out some minor league ball in
That's
the
what
middle
I
of the
try
week,
to
because
do.
why not?
I love I try to like watching those minor league games. I just love it because it's still good ball. It's still good ball, but
Yeah.
it's cheaper. It's like it's affordable and it's still just as
Yeah.
fun
Yeah. And those kids are talented, man.
for sure.
They're fast as hell. I was looking at them just being like, damn, those kids are fast. Like when they're like the ball's flying and they take off running to go grab it and just like, geez, dude.
The quick.
Or when they get a base hit and they're like running as fast as they can to first because they know that they might get out.
Yep.
It's like some of those kids are like,
that full sprint.
damn, dude,
I
that
know.
was fast.
It's like damn near track stars, man.
Exactly.
It's nuts.
Yep. Yeah, so that's cool to see. And then I'm just sitting there just jealous. Like I was trying to run when we were playing kickball with the nieces and just like, oh, no way. My time to first wasn't even close to that.
And it was half the distance. Fuck.
Right.
All right, man. Well, wrap it up. Subscribe, do that thing,
Yeah.
It's much appreciated. That is going to be it. I'm just going to keep it nice and simple and end it there. That's it. But that can't end it yet because I got something to tell Tim. I mean, me and Tim's conversation can't end yet. We're good. The podcast is over. All right.